Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and turn on notifications so that you will receive alerts when there are new episodes. Go get it.
This what I tell 'em. Look, I've been grinding for so long, I wake up and chase my goals. I go out and I go get it. How to code, that's all I know. I don't succeed, then I don't breathe. Success, what does it mean? If I conquer all my goals, then I'm living out my dream. Dig deep, go out and get it. Success Chronicles, compete until it's finished. Success Chronicles, go take care of your business. Success Chronicles, it's deeper than just winning. Success Chronicles.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Chip Baker coming to you with another episode of the Success Chronicles. Excited to have this guest today, Dr. Natalia Wiechowski, an author, edutainer, consultant, a lady that's doing lots of amazing things to make our world a better place. And I'm so thankful to have her on today. So first off, thanks so much for taking the time to interview with the Success Chronicles.
Thank you so much for inviting me over, and I still have to get away of the tears because we're laughing so hard before you press the start button. So I hope to be of value to your audience and to edutain them.
There you go. Well, first, I know off air, like you said, we had some good laughs, but if you don't mind sharing with the audience your story and track your story till now.
Yeah, so I am originally from Germany, from Hanover, and I studied social science. And when you do that, there is not the job for you. So when you study medicine, you usually become a doctor. Or when you study architecture, you become an architect, right? So as a sociologist, you either end up in HR, or you end up in marketing, or you end up in a, non-profit, or you do your own thing. And so I decided to try everything. So at the age of 23, I left Germany and I worked for the government first here in the UAE in the educational field. And then I moved towards private economy and worked in marketing. And at the age of 29, I realized, I hate myself and I hate my life and I hate my job. And everybody says, you're successful and you must be so happy. And I said, well, on paper, it looks amazing. Like, seriously, I'm impressed by the stuff that I see on my CV. But to be honest, I'm not happy. I don't perceive myself as successful. And I was terribly sick. I was exhausted. I ended up to twice per month in hospital and no doctor could figure out what it is. So to cut the long story short, I had the guts to say, you know what, stop. I quit my job. I locked myself away for 9 months, took a self-imposed sabbatical and asked myself tons of painful questions like, what is happiness? What is success? What do I want from life? How can I add more value? What is a value? What if the way how I live, what makes me happy is very different from the stuff that was brainwashed or hammered into my system? So I literally created a list with all the things that I always wanted to do, and I tested and experimented and failed myself up to my dream lifestyle and career of purpose. And that is being myself, being able to teach people something, but to also be silly. This is why I'm an edutainer. It's a mix between an educator and an entertainer. And I realized that I'm not a typical consultant. I'm not a typical coach. I swear way too much for a coach. And I also love to give advice because people ask me for advice. So I realized that a concept that I call coach-sulting is best. And my passion lies in helping people to shine better, to stand out, to market themselves, to build personal brands that make you money, but also make a difference. And so I either do that in a group coaching setting. So I have a link to group coaching, but on the other side, I'm also a keynote speaker, a trainer, and recently also an author.
That's awesome. Great story. Very inspiring. Well, what are 3 things you've accomplished in your life that you're proud of?
I think the first one is the PhD, because once my PhD was ready and I sent it to my supervisor, she didn't answer. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So I waited and followed up. and nothing came. And then I called her. She's like, oh yeah, sorry, I'm so busy. I promise you I'll get back to you. And then 2 weeks later, she's like, I can't find your PhD. Could you please resend it? And I was like, okay, fine. Okay. So this happened 10,000 times. And at a certain stage, I just contacted my university and said, listen, I'm scared, but my professor is not reading my stuff, and it's a deal. It's kind of like marriage. So I sign and do my stuff, and you do your stuff.
Mhm.
And so the university got back to me after a few weeks and said, well, we have good news and we have bad news. What do you want to hear first? And I was like, oh, no. So in the end, nobody knew where she was. She just disappeared. And I wasn't the only one. There were also more than a handful of other students. So I needed to look for a new professor, and finding a new professor who would be my mentor, or the doctor father, as we call it in German, was very difficult. And then once I found one, he said, well, we can, of course, continue working together, but approximately 85% what you have created over the last 3.5 years is trash bin material. So if you want to get that PhD, you better start writing from scratch. Maybe 15% of what you've created is actually workable. So pushing through that and actually writing 2 PhD theses and just being doctor and not doctor.
Doctor.
Doctor. Not yet. Maybe I'll be Dr. HC one day. It's on my vision board. So that's one thing that I'm really proud of, because I so didn't want to do it. It was exhausting. It meant 3 more years working on something that I have emotionally finished. So that was a huge lesson learned and a project. The second thing was definitely the sabbatical. Having the courage to question everything that I've ever learned in life and saying no to a comfortable, stable life that everybody lives, but going deep and facing my deepest insecurities and forgiving and letting go.
Yeah.
That was, I think, even more of a project, and was scarier than anything that I've ever done in my life. So I'm very proud of that as well, that I pushed through it. And the last thing is my business, because after I realized that, working for somebody didn't work for me, I was like, okay, I have 3 options. I could be a freelancer or start my own business. Cool. I could get married and be just a rich trophy wife. It's like, oh, that's not for me. I have too much brain. I just can't be pretty. That doesn't work for me. Or I could live, I could go to Germany and tell them I don't have a job and live off the money that I would get from the government, right? Because the German system is the German society is a society that really cares for each other. And when you cannot find a job for a certain amount of time, you get money from the government because you're looking for a job. So I was like, don't want to be a burden for my country, don't want to be a trophy wife. So I better start my own business. And I started as a freelancer, and then I realized that trading money against time doesn't work for me, because time is one of my core values. So then making that jump into entrepreneurship, although nobody in my family is a business owner, everybody has always been employed. That was so scary, but yeah. I don't regret any day, and I'm really proud of how far I've come after 5 years.
That's awesome. Those are definitely 3 things to really be proud of. It's really cool. And I would consider them to be hugely successful. So let's hit on success. What is your definition of success?
That's a challenging one, and I spend so much time on it. I've written a book, and in there I have a longer passage on it. At the moment it's in German, so give me some time because I need to translate it. I think in order to define success, you need to define what happiness is first. So this is how I define happiness. For me, happiness means to live every day, to design every day how I would like it to be the queen of my time, to learn something new every day, to read, to become a little bit better, to make at least one person think and laugh per day, to eat well because I'm a foodie, have great conversations, do sports, to feel the sun on my skin. That's happiness for me. And when I can design a business model and a lifestyle that allows me to live that day, each day like that, this is what I call success.
Boom.
Boom! Drop the mic.
That's good stuff right there. That's awesome. Well, before we get off, if you don't mind sharing with the audience where they can go follow you and check you out and show you some love.
Sure. I mean, I'm a big LinkedIn fan.
Okay.
So you'll find me on LinkedIn, where I share a lot of knowledge and stories around my expertise, LinkedIn personal branding. And if you want to see the more private Natalia, that definitely swears more and has weird filters in her face, primarily unicorns, and also see a little bit of how Dubai looks like. I mean, not at the moment, because we're not allowed. We started to be allowed to go out again. We had like a 3 weeks lockdown.
Mm-hmm.
Then follow me on Instagram. You'll find me under @ThinkNatalia.
There it is. Well, again, I want to say thank you so much for taking the time to interview with the Success Chronicles. And I wish you continued success.
Thanks so much. Same to you.
All right. Well, thank you guys for checking out this episode. We'll see you next time. God bless. Go get it.